having issue that they are still fixing the car. I don't know if they are going to even finish from Bali before 12.
For many years, we have been planning to visit Mararaba, but because of a poor road network from Donga to Mararaba and due to some security concerns, and then thirdly due to financial concerns, we have been shifting that endeavor until this year, 2023. The journey started with a conversation I had with one of our partners, whose name I would want to mention. He asked if there is any crusade or any program in the pipeline that we are planning to go for. He wants to sponsor the entirety of the program. Well, for me, that was a very huge one because we have been planning actually for crusades, along the line. So when he came up with that suggestion, if there is any crusade or any program we have on the pipeline that we would want to go for, there were actually two locations in my mind. One of them was Megoge. We have been in Megoge before. We were invited for a crusade in that town, and it was very successful. It was a powerful crusade. And so when the issue came up of whether we have any location, I initially thought of Megoge. And I called one of my very good brother and friend who stays there in Megoge. In fact, he was our host when we were last there, asking if it's going to be possible for us to be there in Megoge. And after making inquiries with the pastors there, the leadership of the pastors there, he was informed that that would be a very brilliant idea because the town has been anticipating our next coming. But the leader there advised that we shift the program to 2024 so that they would have enough time to prepare and to plan, which to me is a very huge development and a welcome development. So the alternative we have is the Mararaba, which we have been postponing for years now. So the first thing, we have never been there before. I only have one of my mom's twin sister. I have my mother's twin sister staying there in Mararaba. And aside from that, we have never been there before. Personally, I've never visited there before, and would have to, send someone to go and test the waters to see if we'll be welcome in that city. As an evangelist, one of the things that is very important to you is going into communities where you are welcomed, where the people receive you with open arms. This is so important because you don't want to spend a lot of money and put in a lot of effort into a program and then get into the community and you are not really received as such. Resources that you could probably have invested in another location and you would get, a very positive response. So when we had that, we decided to say, no, we are going to send somebody to go and see the place. So we sent people there to go and scout out the land and then reach out to those that they can reach out to. Let us see if the land is receptive and open to our coming. And then after going there and then consulting with some of the leadership there, the CAN body and the pastors of the churches there, they welcomed us, even though some of them said they have other engagements at the proposed time that we had. So the messenger came back with reports that were a little bit encouraging. And so I reached back to that partner and gave him the rough estimate of what it will cost us to go for a crusade in that location. He asked when we needed that, and then I told him as soon as possible. And immediately I began to go into posters design and other, nitty-gritties, other running here and there, putting things in order. And when we finished designing the poster to get to the location, he eventually sent in even more than we gave him as a budget, not knowing that probably even all of that may not be enough to get into that. We have a lot of gadgets that needs to be repaired. We had to rent some other gadgets and so many other running costs that we didn't even knew we were going to encounter when we got, going into the program. So when the date came, eventually, few days to the program, we had contact of people that have gone, sent letters, and then the posters we sent them. In fact, it had a delay of almost 2 days.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Sorry, I was the person that sent a driver yesterday morning.
Okay, sir. Up now, I called the driver this morning. Tell me they value.
What you do, but please just talk to the driver. Let him give the another driver to bring it from there now.
Okay, I will call the driver now. I'm talking to him, sir. I will call
because
him.
He said that the car is having issue, that they are still fixing the car. I don't know if they are going to even finish from Bali before 12.
We noticed that a week to the crusade, most of our posters have not been pasted in the city. Some of the persons we contacted to help were engaged with so many other, activities, and then even the leaders in the town that made, beautiful promises of support that they would render. At the last moment, we noticed that they had other engagements that probably would say, hindered their ability to meet up to the promises they gave to us. So in order to be able to meet up with the program, we had to send a team to go ahead of us. They went almost, 4 days to the program. The team comprises of one of our main guy, Yusuf, who is in charge of, mounting the stage and other things, and then together with some of our people like Paul and the guys from Sunte, Libunya and their Salvation and the others, they went ahead, to go and see to it that the posters are being pasted. They arrived on Tuesday. The program started on Friday.
Being our host this primary to Mararaba. So we're inviting you to Lukunya, maybe, and this primary to where our host will be home. We're inviting you all.
So they were there, they had to paste the posters. That day they arrived, work out accommodation. We had to get some lodge, and then others will have to stay with my mother's twin sister. And then, the other people would also have to go into the town to go and start mobilization. Because of the short time interval we had to do these things, a lot of the publicity and mobilizations were not done. So some of them will have to take PA system, and they started moving from street to street, area to area, doing a kind of mini evangelism, and then at the same time mobilizing people to come for the program.
He's the only one who can save us. He's the only one who can deliver us from all parts of life.
And then Yusuf and the others were busy in the field, mounting up the stage, the light, and then setting up all the other things that needed to be put in order for the crusade to happen. Yusuf had been doing that for the ministry for a very long time, for years now, and so together with Foster and others, they made sure that the stage and everything was mounted and ready for the crusade to begin. And as the Lord will help us, on the day of the program, we finally took off from Donga. We was joined by Mr. Richard and Isaiah, and together with Jimmy and other people, Sister Kay, who's in charge of cooking and everything, they joined, and then we took off to Mararaba. We arrived in Mararaba, and when we arrived, we had to use the same vehicle. We rented that vehicle from one of the churches in Donga, then paid for the bus. We believe God that the time is coming when we would have our own bus and we would have to rent and all of that. But we arrived, and then we had to use the bus, set it up, get it ready for rally that same day, and then mounted the bus. And then some of the people we went with went for the rally, and then thank God Minister Richard was there, helped with the sound system, had to set the sound and gadgets in the venue. Now gadgets have some deficiencies, we still need some. We plan to rent more gadgets to add to the one we had, but because of the financial constraint, we had to cut that out. Then we had challenge with chairs. We had a lot of disappointment here and there, but God was faithful. We did the best we could to set the whole stage and everything in order. And then the first day of the program, my prayers was, Lord, let all this effort and all these finances never go in vain. Because, when people give towards the gospel like that, they are making investments to the kingdom. And personally, I don't want to see the funds go in vain. I trust God to see that the funds are invested to the best of our ability, so that the people that give towards that, endeavor will be blessed as much as possible.
Zebi wa chukuli.
We try our best to see to it that, these people, these funds are used judiciously, most especially for this partner of ours that has decided. I think he sent us a very huge amount, something we have never really seen from a single individual for a while. Even though this year, before now, we have had like an individual, taking it upon himself to sponsor 2 of our, mini crusades, which to me, it's like a new ground that God has, opened. Those days you'd have to have support from different people to meet up the target for a program. But at least we had about 2 crusades this year that one individual decided to sponsor it, and then this particular one where God raised somebody. The financial cost of this one was very heavy, and the Lord used this servant of his to sponsor the program. And for me, it was really making sure that you put in every money into the program in such a way that the person who sent this would have his own eternal reward, and stuff like that. And then when we got into it, we noticed that a lot of other funds we still need to get to meet up other bills. Thank God for our other partners. We had some other thing thereabout. We had around 5 other people that decided to send in something. This one was led, the other was led, the other one was led. Even after the program, one of our hosts also in Megoye also decided to sow into the program. Now these funds, to be sincere, they ease the burden of the work, and we're able to settle all the bills, pay off those we need to pay off. And we even had a little change to deposit for some of the equipment we managed to rent, from somewhere else. We had to put a down payment after settling all the bill, which to me was really, a very great hand of God at work. First day of the crusade was like very huge. The Lord was faithful. The people came out and many souls gave their hearts to Christ. The second day, the same thing. A lot more people came. We didn't take offering in any of the day. We had before we came that some people came to the town for crusade. They were selling things, those anointing materials, and they packed a lot of money. It was more like the people just came to look for money. So there's already that background idea that if people come for crusades like this, they are just coming to look for money. Now this is a message to all those who are going out to preach the gospel. Let's do our best to ensure that this gospel is given to the people free of charge. The gospel, Jesus said, freely you receive, freely give. Let's not merchandise the gospel so that we abuse the privilege of the gospel, and then people begin to develop wrong notions towards the gospel. That is not to mean that giving should not be done, or givings, or if you go for crusades you should not do the offering. We didn't take offering because there was no need for it. All the needs we already met. But even if offerings are going to be collected, let them be collected in a way that is worthy of the gospel, so that we don't bring the name of Christ to disrepute as a result of some of those activities. Hence, we didn't take any offering. As a matter of fact, we gave out money, to videos. We did that publicly. Now, I know that also Scripture says we should be careful with giving. When giving to the needy, let your left hand not see what your right hand, is doing. But I had to do that publicly because that was not my money. It was from the money that was sent by partners, and so their names were not mentioned. So nobody knew who gave. I was just like, the deliverer of the message. But it's part of why I decide not to mention the names of the partners, here, because their identity has to be secret so that we don't end up exposing them, and then in the long run do things that may jeopardize their eternal reward. The goal is that everything you give for the kingdom, you should be able to have reward for it in heaven. And if giving is not properly done, you may just end up wasting your effort, which is why for me I could do that publicly, because I will not remove it from my pocket to give to these people. I was giving out of what the partner sent and I took my best, to hide the identity. So that was how it went. The last day of the program, we still had more people turning up. Huge number of people. In fact, first day, second day, third day, we had a very huge number of people that came out to give their life to Christ, which to me was, wow, a very, very exciting moment. It was what one was looking at for. The end result, the goal of all of that is to see souls saved coming into the kingdom. We had a challenge, obviously, because of follow-up. We tried to work with the churches to give us counselors so that they would take up from where we stopped. But we had a lot of, disappointment from the churches as regards the issue of the counselors. I don't know, probably because of the short time notification or other factors that we were not able to get the counselors, which was one of the challenges we experienced there. We even had people that had no church, and the goal was, to get them attached to one of the churches in the communities. Most times when we go to places like that, you notice that most of the pastors are skeptical about your coming because they are thinking you are coming to open up a new church, you are coming to pack their members, and all of that mindset. Now, of course, naturally, when a man is in ministry, he should not have this mindset that he has members. Nobody has any members. These are flocks that are being gathered, for Christ. Jesus said the church of God, with whom he purchased with his own blood. No minister should have that mindset that he's gathering members or building followers for himself. That is why, but at the same time, it's also a thing of, with sincerity. There should be good dealings with the people. They should be able to trust you and not think you are coming to build a church and to steal or carry away their members. Now, while we already say that a person should not go into ministry with the mindset of, gathering members for themselves and all of that, but at the same time, it doesn't justify that somebody has spent years, gathering people. He probably has spent 10 years to have 300 members, 400 members, and then you just come one day and then about 50% of those people leave. Even if you're that person and you're in that person's shoe, it's going to be painful and stuff like that. So at the same time, we want to build trust for the people on ground to know that we're not coming to steal their members or carry their members. In fact, we are coming to get members to them, especially those that gave their life to Christ in the program and had no church to attend. Of course, from the program, we will see people of different faith and religion, coming out to identify with Christ and give their hearts to Christ. And we also saw beautiful miracles take place, like this woman that she said she was born, she could not smell. I had to be sure. Over time, I have noticed that sometimes we announce miracles in programs, and then after the program, they go back to go and check and discover that we either exaggerate or, took things out of proportion, and then all those things in the long run, they cripple the faith of people. So when one of our people announced that the miracle has happened, I had to tell him, go back and check, confirm, and be sure. And in fact, at the point, the woman had to emphasize that, man, this thing is not a small miracle, because she said this her condition, she was born like that. I asked them to get the perfume, and then she was able to smell the perfume for the first time. This is an elderly woman, and she has never smelled it.
Carry me